Happy Monday, literary citizens! So, since we don't know each other that well yet, I wanted to tell you a little bit about myself, but through the books that I like. And since this is also Late Night Library, where we like to talk about debut books, I figured I would give you a list of 10 of my favorite books that also happen to be the author's first published novel. We're gonna start off with a book that's one of my favorites of all time, and I am, of course, talking about Twilight! JK, got you though, right? We are, however, going to start off with a book that has an eerily similar cover to Twilight, and that is The Thief by Megan Whalen Turner. As you can maybe tell by the title, it's about a thief, and he thinks he's the greatest thief in the whole world, except for he's been caught and he's in prison, so that sucks for him. The book starts out with him being released from prison because the king needs him to travel to another country and steal some of their treasure. So he gets to go on this journey, and he's snarky and sarcastic and totally great, and I kind of had a huge crush on him when I was like 12. My next book is called Dragon's Milk by Susan Fletcher, and it's about a girl named Keldra who has to go and find a mother dragon so she can get some dragon's milk and save her younger sister who's dying, because obviously dragon's milk has magical healing properties, so she also gets to go on an adventure that involves dragons and dragon slayers and baby dragons and basically just a bunch of dragons, and it's awesome. Also, I'm pretty sure that this book is the first time I felt massively betrayed by a fictional character when they did something terrible. Number 3 is Everything is Illuminated by Jonathan Safran Foer. I don't know how to pronounce his name, I'm sorry. A lot of people have probably heard of this book. It was made into a movie that stars Elijah Wood. It is about a young man, also named Jonathan Safran Foer, who goes to the Ukraine to see if he can find the woman that he thinks saved his grandfather from the Nazis. And he has this crazy, hilarious translator who narrates a good portion of the book, and it's probably one of the funniest things I've ever read in my entire life. It also made me cry as hard as it made me laugh, so be warned, it's not just all fun and games. Number 4 is The Mysterious Affair at Styles by Agatha Christie. I love mystery novels. I wanted to be a detective for most of my childhood, up until the point where I decided I wanted to be a cake decorator. Your guess is as good as mine. So this is Agatha Christie's first book, and as with most of her books, it involves a murder and the solving of a murder. And this is also the book that introduces the wonderful Hercule Poirot, who is one of my favorite characters of all time. He's kind of a Sherlock Holmes type character. He's brilliant but eccentric, and he's a retired police officer. He's very proud of the fact that he's Belgian. He also hates going to the dentist. So he runs around the English countryside trying to solve the murder of his friend, and there's lots of plot twists and intricate details and things that you think you should have saw before, but you didn't, and it's great. Number 5 is a book that you're probably familiar with. This is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I'm not even gonna bother summarizing this one. If you don't know what it's about, you can look it up on Wikipedia. I actually did my senior research paper on Jane Eyre in high school, and it's one of the very few books where I wrote an essay on it and didn't hate it afterwards. There's also an awesome web series on YouTube right now called The Autobiography of Jane Eyre that's set in modern day Canada, and it's done vlog style, and it's super interesting, so if you like Jane Eyre, you should definitely check that out. 6, The Intimate Adventures of a London Call Girl by Belle de Jour. And this is the copy that came out when the show was released, so it says Secret Diary of a Call Girl on the cover, but it's the same book. This book is really interesting because it's based on a blog that the author kept while she was working as a call girl to pay for her doctorate. So she talks about her clients and her relationships and how she deals with telling her friends and family when she does have a profession that's unusual and is kind of looked down on by a lot of people. So it's a really great memoir. It's funny, it's smart, it's sexy. Plus, Billie Piper's in the show. Come on. The Princess Diaries by Meg Cabot. It's about an awkward, nerdy teenage girl named Mia who finds out that her dad is a prince, and because he can't have any more children, she is the only heir to the royal throne of Genovia, which is not a real country, let me tell you right now, because I thought it was a real country for like 10 years. So I'm a sucker for teen chick lit, and this whole series is one of my favorites. I love the characters, they've got great voices, plus I just love epistolary novels that are told in letters and diaries and emails and stuff like that. Angus, Thongs, and Full Frontal Snogging by Louise Renison. So this book actually reminds me a lot of The Princess Diaries, except for without the whole princess thing, and it's British. It's about the life of a girl named Georgia who's just trying to figure out school and boys and her cat that tries to eat dogs. It's hilarious. It's one of those books that I used to stay up late at night and read under the covers because A, I was supposed to be asleep, and B, I wasn't supposed to be reading books with scandalous words like thongs in the title, but I'm really glad I read it anyway because it ends with a dictionary that taught me lots of useful British words like snog and bugger and prat. So 9 is also pretty popular. This is Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. It's a story told in letters by a shy, quiet kid named Charlie who just started his freshman year of high school, and he meets a couple friends that introduce him to music and drugs and the Rocky Horror Picture Show. It actually came out as a movie last year, and the interesting thing about that is that the author of the book wrote and directed the movie because he studied at film school, and this is actually the first and only novel that he's written. And that brings us to my final book, which is Looking for Alaska by John Green. This is a pretty typical coming-of-age story. I mean, boy goes off to boarding school, meets friends, gets into trouble, falls in love with a girl, etc. But the thing that really sets this book apart for me, and the thing that I really love about it, is the characters and the way that their interactions feel very natural. It just reminds me a lot of the way that my friends and I actually talked when we were in high school. So those were 10 of my favorite books that also happen to be debut novels, and I think that they're fabulous, so I recommend all of them to everyone. But if you have a favorite book that I didn't talk about that's also a debut novel, please let me know in the comments, and I will be back on Saturday with another video. So if you enjoyed this, please click the like button, please subscribe, and I will see you soon. Peace. Taught me lots of useful British words like snog and butter. Twilight! That's in front of my face. Snog, bugger. My British accent is terrible.